Hello and welcome to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life with your host Avik. This podcast is all about exploring the latest research, sharing personal stories, and providing personal tips for improving our mental health and well-being. Each episode will be joined by experts in the field of mental health, as well as individuals who have experienced the transformative power of a healthy mind firsthand. Together, we will dive into a range of topics from managing stress and anxiety to building resilience and cultivating happiness. So, join us on this journey to discover new ways to take care of our minds, bodies, and souls. And let's work together to create a healthier, happier world, one episode at a time. So, let's get started. Hello and welcome back to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. Today we are honored to host Brooke Bishop. Welcome to the show, Brooke.
Hey, thank you for having me here.
Lovely.
Super excited.
Great. So Bishop, before we start our conversation today, I would love to mention this to all of our listeners that Brooke is a true luminary in personal development and the human elevation. So with 20 plus years of expertise, his journey includes roles as the director of sales at Buffini and Company, executive of business solutions with Tony Robbins, and impactful collaborations in the chiropractic community. So as a coach, Brooke has influenced over 50,000 individuals worldwide while creating the coaching training, coaching programs, and innovative sales strategies. So beyond his professional life, he is a rogue-maverick, breaking the molds in both the fitness and the parenting both. So his unconventional approach, passionate parenting, focuses on experimental learning and thinking outside the box. So contributing actively, like Brooke supports causes like Operation Underground Railroad, the Surfrider Foundation, and the Feed America. So there's a lot to learn from him. So join us as we explore the insights from managing the marketing budgets, leading to the top sales teams, and also at the same time creating the impactful coaching programs with the extraordinary Brooke Bishop. So welcome to the show again.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I'm super grateful to be here with you as well as with your audience today.
Lovely. So Brooke, to start with, if you can share the key foundational elements that aspiring coaches should focus on when starting their coaching business.
Yeah, the first one, and this is something that we actually don't hear very often, but I honestly think it's the most critical, is being in alignment. Right. And what I mean by being in alignment in the context of this is if you're going to be coaching other people, you've got to have your ducks in a row. You've got to have your life and your world in order. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect, and doesn't mean that everything has to be, just absolute perfection. However, you've got to be taking care of yourself at a higher level. You've got to be whatever your niche area is, you've got to have results in that area of your life if you're going to be coaching others to excel.
Understood. So, reflecting on your own journey, what were the initial hurdles you faced in building a successful coaching business? And also at the same time, how did you overcome them?
Mine came out of necessity. I was working with, at the time I was working with one of the largest coaching companies on the planet. We had over 350 coaches on our staff. And this was with a company called Buffini and Company. And so we were really big in the real estate space. And I thought I was going to climb the corporate ladder there. And I thought I was going to have this, this beautiful future that I was pursuing. And they brought in a new manager, a new director that him and I we just clashed, right? We butted heads. And within 2 weeks of him coming on board, he fired me. And so his termination of me was literally, he called me the sacrificial lamb because he couldn't get control over his team. So he fired me as a way of putting fear into them so that he could get control of the team. Now, out of that, the very next day, I was up at 4:30 a.m. I had on my suit and I was ready to go. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was fortunate enough to have a mentor. And he goes, look, what can you do? Who can you help? what is your deepest skill? What would you just feel amazingly incredible working with somebody every day and day in and day out? And it was that morning actually is when I decided to launch my own coaching business. And so for me, it truly came out of necessity, where I'm like, okay, I had a mortgage, I had a wife, kids, I had to build something. But there was no roadmap. At that point in time, there was no tutorial. There was no online training to teach you how to build a coaching business. So I had to cut my teeth and get creative.
That's I mean, would say it's a more struggling phase, I would say. So, I mean, when we're talking about niche identification, so how important it is for the coaches to uh, identify a specific niche, and for that, what advice do you have for finding a niche that aligns with their expertise and the passion?
Yeah, no, it's a really, really good question. Because if we go back, let's say 20, 30 years ago, I would say that you could be a coach of all things to all people. But now with the saturation of coaches in the marketplace, it's really, really hard to cut through the noise. If you're going to try and be I'm a life coach for everything, you're going to struggle, right? So really, you need to get really clear of who your ideal client is, what their specific problems are. You need to get really clear as to what your gift and expertise is and really cater to that. Really, really, really mission critical, honestly. If you want to break through the noise in the marketing space, there's just a lot more competition now. So you have to niche down.
Got it. So, what effective strategies can coaches employ to attract their first clients and even build a steady clientele?
Yeah, if somebody who's just starting out, there's two things I recommend you do. First and foremost, sphere of influence, friends, family, connections. A lot of times when we're starting out in the coaching game, we don't want to go to our friends and family because we don't want to ask them for money.
Yeah.
However, what I would encourage you to do is to go to them and say, hey, do you know of anyone who's struggling with X, Y, Z that would benefit from my support, my coaching? Because the average person on the planet now, they've got, and this was 10 years ago, the average person knew 268 people on average. Now, with as deep and wide as social media goes, the average person knows somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 people between their connections. So if you've got your own friends and family, if you're just starting out your coaching business, go there first, and not for the purposes of trying to get their direct business, but you want to turn them into advocates. You want to turn them into people that are broadcasting that you're there. So if they hear of anyone that has that specific problem in their world, they mention your name. They immediately go to you as the authority in that. So that's the first place. The second, and this is just the nature of where we're at now, social media. Between TikTok, between YouTube, between, just the various platforms that are there. These are very inexpensive ways to start putting yourself and your messaging on blast and start building an audience. And then the third, honestly, would actually be what we're doing right now, podcasting, right? There's a ton of people that are out there that have an audience that wants to know what it is that your expertise and that your gift is. So those would be the first three that I'd recommend people do. Go to your sphere of influence, your friends, your family, turn them into broadcasters, then go to social media. And then I would say definitely get in the podcasting game.
Understood. So, how can the coaches strike a balance between pursuing their passion for coaching and also ensuring that the financial sustainability is in the early stages of their businesses?
Yeah. So the biggest piece is this, and what I can tell you is the mass majority of people that are in the coaching game, they don't know their numbers, right? Which makes sense because they're usually heart-driven individuals. They're driven by their passionate side. Well, the other piece of that business is really knowing your metrics. And they're two different sides of the brain, right? One is that passion, emotional side. The other is that logical, numerical side. Sure. You really need to know your metrics and know your numbers as a coach. If you truly want to be a full-time coach, you've got to know how many clients do I need to have on per month and what am I charging? And here's the other piece. And this is what a lot don't do. What's the margin? How much are you actually having to spend or having to pay out to get that client? And how much are you actually netting and generating from that client? I can't tell you how many people that are like, I'm going to coach, and they take on 30, 40 clients but they're not paying attention what their costs are, or they don't know what they have to spend and outlay in marketing dollars. So it's really, really, really important to really, truly know your numbers and know your metrics when you're coming into the game and coming into the business of coaching.
Got it. So, what marketing approaches and the channels have you found most effective in reaching and resonating with your target audiences?
It really depends on the niche or the niche, depending on where somebody's at in the planet. But it really depends on what your expertise is, right? So we have some of our clients who are working. Let's say they have an offering for something that's in the business sector. Like one of the women that's in our coaching, our mastermind, she helps people in the product management space. So like VPs of product management, she helps them accelerate their career. Well, for her, she's been struggling on like Facebook and Instagram because it's harder to target based on industry, but she's killing it in LinkedIn because you can very easily target those dynamics, and her client profile, that's where they're at. That's where they participate. So you really need to be aware of like, okay, who is your ideal client? And really step through that. Okay, where are these people at? Where do they participate? What stuff are they into? Where are their eyeballs and where are they spending their time? And then get in front of them. So if you've got more of an emotional offer, let's say you're helping people save their marriage, I'd absolutely make sure you're on Instagram and Facebook or TikTok. Because if you think about it, somebody who's in a struggling relationship, they're probably going to be spending time distracting themselves and going on certain social media. They're going to want that quick dopamine hit. So they're probably going to be more in like TikTok shorts, YouTube shorts, stories, reels. I would be putting your content in that space. So it just really comes down to what your niche is, but whatever it is, get clear of what it is. Now, I'd also encourage people to, I am a big fan of the shotgun approach of if you're in the beginning stages and you don't know where your people are at, put your content everywhere and start to see where people are engaging.
Got it. So, like building a coaching business goes beyond the acquiring clients. So what methods do you recommend for maintaining a strong long-term relationships with the clients?
Yeah, there's three, I'd say to really build a successful coaching business, there's three areas that you do have to master. Obviously, definitely have to get good at generating clients, which is just a fancy way of saying marketing, right? The second area that you have to master is you have to master the sales process and being able to enroll. You get somebody who's interested in your product or service, you do need to be able to master enrolling those people into your services. And then the third piece, and this is mission critical, and again, getting a certification in the world of coaching is one thing. I just saw somebody marketing the other day on I think it was on Facebook, but they were saying $7 US to get a coaching certification in less than 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh Lord, help us. Right. So you really, really, truly need to have quality training, and you really want to be consistently working on the value that you offer. If your coaching is, if it's wonky, if there's not a lot of quality deliverability that's there, that's going to bite you in the rear. You might be able to get away with it for a short window of time in the beginning of your coaching business. But if you can't get your clients results, that's going to come up. That's going to play out. People will talk and people will give negative reviews, and that's going to bite you in the rear over the course of time. So it's really, really important that not only you know how to generate leads and enroll them, you have to deliver at a high level and help your clients get results.
Got it. So, how do you advise coaches to stay adaptable in an ever-evolving coaching landscape, especially with emerging trends and technologies?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So yes, the world of, I'll answer this in two ways. One is be really clear as far as how you want your client experience to be, and be mindful with technology, because one thing that I can see that's happening a lot in the world of the technology side, there's a lot of shiny object syndrome happening right now. There's so many new tools. You might want this little tool feature over here, and then you see something else that's popping up over here and you're like, oh, I need that. And I see a lot of coaches that just spin around and trying to get their technology to work. My recommendation is keep it as simple as humanly possible until you have really good momentum, until you have a really good amount of cash flow coming in, and you have a team that can help you build out that second, what I call the second business. But just be very, very mindful that you don't get swept into technology land, because you can go from having this desire to serve and be this heart-centered coach, and you'll get lost in setting up, how do you set up your email campaigns, and how do you set up your website, and how do you set up your, do you want a members community and all these different things. You can very quickly get distracted in the mundane minutia of technology. I would get really clear first of what do you want your client's experience to be? What technology can fulfill that? Stick with that for 6 months to a year until you've got a really good, here's the reality. You're not going to generate clients and you're not going to lose clients because you have this like robust technology stack. So my recommendation is have a really clean deliverable that gets your clients the outcomes that you're promising them. Start there, then you can add on more technology as you go.
Understood. That's a great technique, I would say, for sure. So how do you, as a seasoned coach, how crucial is ongoing professional development, and what are the resources or the avenues do you recommend for the coaches to continue honing their skills?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and similar answer to the technology, because what we see in the coaching world, there's a lot of people that will come into the coaching space who love growth. They themselves want to grow. And so they'll go to one training and get a certification. They'll go to another training and get a certification. Now, there's two things that can happen. And so I'm going to try and answer this in a simple way. I'm all about continuously grow, always be growing, always be educating, always be elevating your skill set. But I will also dovetail that with don't use needing another certification as your excuse to not go out and get clients. Right? Because I see so many coaches who are just like, oh, if I get this certification or when I get my master's degree, then I'll go and get clients. If I get my NLP certification or when I get my master's in NLP, or when I go, once I'm a trainer in NLP, then I'll go get clients. So I see kind of two different ends of that, where I've got one side of, yes, keep growing. But the other part is just make sure you don't lose your pursuit of growth as an excuse to not be good enough to go get clients that you can go help.
Got it. Understood. So before we wrap up, like looking back at your extensive career, what legacy or maybe the impact do you hope to leave in the coaching industry? And at the same time, what are the advices do you have for coaches aspiring to create a lasting impact?
Yeah, so here, for me, it's really, really simple. Our mission is to help those on a mission. So if we can help more coaches build a sustainable, profitable business, they can leave their job, which means they have more time and they have more resources to go help the people they really, truly want to help. So our legacy is if we can help more people, that's what we're after. We're here to help those that want to not be on the sidelines, part-time in it. We want people who truly want to make their life mission and calling also their business, so that they can reach more people on the planet. So yeah, it's a really, really powerful question though, man. Appreciate that.
Wow, that's really great. Thanks for sharing this. And so as we conclude this insightful episode on crafting the success, building your coaching business from the ground up, I definitely want to express my deepest gratitude to our exceptional guest today, Brooke Bishop. So his wealth of experience and the invaluable insights into the world of coaching has undoubtedly left an indelible mark on our understanding of what it takes to thrive in this dynamic industry. So, whether you are just embarking on your coaching journey or maybe at the same time seeking to elevate your existing practice, the wisdom shared by Brooke serves as a compass guiding you through the intricacies of building a successful coaching business. So remember that the path to success is unique for each individual, and as you navigate this terrain, draw the inspiration from the shared experiences and the advice. So,
thank you, man.
On today's I was saying something. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying thank you for having me on. Greatly appreciate you bringing me.
That's really, really awesome. That's really, really great and also thanks for sharing your insights. It's really great, I would say. So, if all of you have found today's episode enriching, do not forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on Healthy Mind and Healthy Life for more engaging conversations with the experts in the field. Our sincere thanks to Brooke for being a beacon of guidance for inspiring and seasoned coaches alike. So until next time, continue crafting your success and nurturing the thriving coaching business you envision. So till then, thank you so much.